Look at that. I'm gonna walk around the long way.
You're gonna do the long way? Well, at least
Yeah.
it's not raining as bad as it was last time.
It's not raining as bad, but
Wait,
somehow,
we're sitting here, huh?
You're good.
Are you gonna?
I'm
Okay.
gonna sit over here. It's all right. Just
I was
wanted to get water bottle.
I'm
and
like panicking that we set up the shot for the wrong side of the floor.
real quick for people on the stream, I just kind of want to do a quick sync clap.
Oh. Juan's killing the bugs.
Great. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, my friend. Cheers. Thank you for the.
Yeah, I'm sorry your coffee is cold because I got here way faster than I thought I would, and I didn't have a second one of these. It's one of these little. So I'm just gonna turn my mug on, so it will reheat my coffee. What do we think? Like 150. That should do it. Yeah, let's do. Oh, it says it's cold. Yeah, let's turn this up.
On that note, I'm gonna go get some hot coffee because Juan decided to.
I'm a gadgety coffee drinker, so this will be nice and toasty in about a minute.
Let's get the outfit correctly set up. I gotta put this on.
We're doing way better. I feel we need to make this a yearly tradition that whenever we get rain, we jet out and do a podcast.
Because we didn't cancel it. I was gonna call you this morning. I'm like, hey, you know what? It's raining, and then I'm like, no. And I was like, I just realized I buried the mic. Because that's how we do it.
That'll sound great.
Yeah, for everybody on the audio
side,
please.
Apologies for folks listening to
the
the
this
audio
is
version. Hey, that looks great.
Much better.
All right. It's like we know what we're doing. So everybody, welcome to another episode of the Best of Our Week, where TK and I, Juan Carlos Bagnell, and tkbay, we talk about the best tech of our week, and we're catching up from
MediaTek.
Well, I mean, yeah, we got to do a live stream at Qualcomm.
I did it. Yeah,
you were on location for Qualcomm.
Yeah, using this guy.
Yeah, we've got a lot to talk
9.
about with because I'm finally back up to speed on the Pro 9 also.
Oh, good.
But we took a week off for Thanksgiving.
I think I kind of needed it.
Same.
There was a lot of things going on, guys. I mean, seriously, it was for me about a week and a half worth of travel. Came back and family and a whole bunch of it was a lot. So we hit each other up on like during the day. It's like, hey, do we want to try to do it? Because we weren't obviously going to do it on Thursday night because families and stuff like that. And then Friday it was
we came back slow.
Yeah.
I was still working off food coma from Thursday.
It was yeah. We had an early dinner. We tried doing it early so we can maybe go for a walk. That never worked. No. I made, in my opinion, at least, the best pecan bars I've ever made in my life.
Pecan pie. That's like.
So to me, the pecan pies, it was a thing that I started back when I was like in early 20s, and I really love it. So I always love it during the holidays, since it's always around on the holidays.
That's my brother's go-to. Yeah. Like, he'll fight you on making the pecan pie.
Oh, I was like, my wife and Omar were like, no, you guys will not touch this. This is, like, I gave some away and I regretted it, so hopefully we'll make another one for around Christmas a little bit, because now I'm getting requests. But the best way to describe it is the combination of butter cookies and pecan, like the crust is more consistent with a butter cookie consistency.
Oh, man.
So there's definitely a lot of butter in there.
We need to do like the Great Techie Bake Off.
Oh my! I bring dessert and you bring the ramen.
Right?
It'll be good,
man.
So like you just get that going.
Because I'm a terrible baker. Because I like to improv, and man, you can't do that when you bake.
No.
So for me, it's more about like soups and stews and like side dishes. I'm really good at making
absolutely.
different sides.
No, absolutely. And
I feel between the two of us, we could make a decent spread.
One of these streams will be not like a meal basically.
Yeah, we'll have Josh come in.
We'll have Josh
and like some low carb options.
Dude,
like protein based. We'll put Josh in charge of the protein. I'll do the sides,
and I'll do the dessert.
Bam! There we go. Meal
done. Plan. We just
Great Techie Bake Off.
We'll hit up Josh later on, and we'll see what we can do. So, yes, it's been a week, and we're finally back, and tech is slowly kind of starting to kind of come up. There's a few things kind of going on in the news. We talk
again from Techtober to now. It's just been some slight ebbs and flows, but it's still been pretty high activity the entire time.
Oh no, absolutely. I'm backlogged on things I need to do. Honestly, it's just sad. I'm trying to push things like the Surface headphones. I pushed out the video for those because I've had them for about a month almost. Yeah, like 3 weeks or so. We got them around roughly the same time.
Yeah, we got them a couple weeks after the Surface 9 event.
Yeah, and Dave. You'll get a chance to check out the video. They're great for what they do, and they do what they do. They well, like they do
They
what
do what they do well.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say.
Right.
A little bit of hiccups here and there, and I feel like maybe it could be software because it's not a consistent issue for us.
Sure.
The audio sync, but I mean, I covered it in the video. Either way, the headphones themselves, I like them. I love the fact that I'm able to tune in what I want without ever having to touch the phone. If I'm not across the house,
Yeah.
in another room, doing whatever I want. So those were really good. And of course, they work great with.
I
the
feel
Pro
like
9.
they're very much in keeping with Microsoft's focus on accessibility, where things like volume control and noise canceling controls are very easily dedicated to their own big,
Yeah.
simple to handle, rotating knobs.
Oh yeah, or even awareness.
It
Their
gives
awareness
me some
mode gets
hope
high.
because, like, you know, I know you drive one of them fancy cars, and it's got like a giant featureless touch screen to interact with so many things.
We just got full self-driving. My car drives on surface streets now. No, seriously, I was showing it to Omar yesterday.
I don't trust that at all.
Oh, no. I'm
If-
like
if
seriously having
Musk
half a
wrote
heart attack every time
any
I'm driving the car.
Code for that, it's probably terrible.
The stopping is horrible. It's mediocre at best, but the fact that it's there.
It's doing something like that is pretty cool.
You know
But,
what I mean?
but
Yeah.
what I mean is,
Nobody's
as an
around.
old school
Nobody's around, yeah.
audio nerd who loves faders and pots and switches and plugs and things like that,
Yeah.
I love picking up a brand new pair of hardcore wireless, cans, and the first thing you have is big giant knob on one side for noise canceling and big giant knob on the other for volume control. I feel like that's correct. Like, that's the best way to do that. I wanted to ask, because I mean, we'll talk about some of the things that we're reviewing and stuff, but
Of course.
it's these kinds of family holidays where I get to check in with like aunts and uncles and kind of see what people are using. My Aunt Bree, she's currently like the most bleeding edge family member right now. She just got an iPhone 14.
Oh.
Non-pro because she wanted better battery life, which I had to respect. I thought that was really cool.
It's a thoughtful decision making when you're buying.
But like the
device.
rest of
It's
the
not just
family-
buying just because they try to sell it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. And again, she was one in the past who might have been swayed by having the nicer Pro, but she really sat down and she like, man, this is gonna add so much more to my monthly bill. I'm not really gonna use these features. She legit asked like, which one gets better battery life? Because my old phone, it wasn't lasting the day anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the thing that I always enjoy is kind of balancing that, seeing how most of my family, they're use a product till the wheels fall off kinds of people. So when I get to show up, it's sort of a part of my job. I like to see what do people get excited by from my tech bag.
Okay.
So I had the Surface Pro 9. I had a laptop dock. I had the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
I brought the Nreal,
Of course.
the AR
No, you have to.
glasses,
Yes.
and the combination of Steam Deck and Nreal glasses together.
Yeah.
Like, no one was really super impressed by the Nreal glasses just like plugging
their
into
own?
a computer.
Yeah.
And people thought the Steam Deck was cool, but my parents have been, gamers their entire lives. Like, from the arcade days all the way through, like, I remember when a cousin got an Atari Lynx and my dad was playing Altered Beasts on an Atari Lynx. So he's not super impressed by just like, oh, I can hold a thing and play a game on it. That's been done before.
Yeah. No.
But I plugged the Nreal Air into the Steam Deck and like both my parents just like, oh, this is new.
This is not.
It was the combination of those two. Did you have anything like that? Was there like a moment where you're hanging out with family and you go, oh, and I've got this thing and it folds?
I want to say that was a surprise probably a few years back. And from my experience.
Not this year?
No, this year.
They saw it. I've seen that before.
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
like, this is the fold. Like, oh, great. So what else does it do? Kind of like, and I'm like, yeah, not much. No, so for me it was more like we actually kind of. I'll say this. My mother-in-law, for the first time ever, finally needed to get an iPad. Not because the iPad itself, she needed FaceTime.
Yeah.
Her brother her family member in Canada is elderly, very tech, stuck in basically iOS land, and they only use FaceTime. They don't use even WhatsApp or some of the other apps. And I tried getting the setup to kind of explain to them how to share a link and she could use her phone for it.
That's 2 extra steps.
It was
TK.
it was not only was it complicated for them, but it was my mother-in-law was like, it'd be much easier just to get a tablet. So for me, that was kind of the weird thing of me for my holiday time. I set up my mother-in-law on an iPad.
Oh.
But with the exception of that, we kind of been a little bit more low-key on tech. The Pro 9, the Surface Pro 9 has been honestly my champion, where
Gotcha.
I am, like, I'll say this. We were going to Maui, and this was kind of slightly before the holiday, so the week before the holiday, before we had the event. And I forgot to do my time card. I know, stupid thing.
Yeah,
and
I love
we're
it.
standing in line at the airport. I get the message, and I was like, hey, you forgot to do your time card for the week before, and I need to submit my time card. So the big tech thing for me was how quickly I was able to take out the Pro 9, the Surface Pro 9, open it up, jump on my web page, just do everything on the go. And my son was just looking at me. It's like, what is that? It's like I told him it's a connected laptop.
Right.
So that was the moment. I think that was for me the moment where like, oh wow,
I can
this
see
is
where
kind
this
of nice.
fits.
Yeah. For me, it was a wow moment. For him, it was like, crap, he could do this all of this. And so he was just standing next to me. We're waiting in line. And as we're walking, I picked it up, reversed the keyboard, and I'm using it in tablet mode. And I'm still working and walking.
Yeah.
So things like that, and I was talking to you about that, I never thought I would need something like that.
Yeah.
And then when I mentioned it to a friend of mine, he's like, I've had it connected to the iPad for a while. I'm like, yeah, but I don't think this was what I meant. I have tablet format in the fold. That opens up its Android, right? But that's not what I wanted. I wanted a desktop, or I needed a desktop experience on the go. And the Pro 9 just jumped right in like a champ. Everything, connectivity, I was on 5G, I was connected all the way up into the airplane. Sorry.
Airplane's taking off, and he's like holding it out the window. I've still got signal.
No, seriously.
Hold
I
on.
was on the whole time connected. So for me, although it wasn't a family member, I got oh my God, this is something I've been missing.
Okay, so in full disclosure, I got an early review unit. We both got early review units.
I think we
They were
both did.
retail packaged, but they were like obviously the first
fresh off the
line.
press. Yeah, exactly. Like badge
Mine
1, badge
had a battery issue, and if you catch my Surface unboxing, when I go to plug it in to try and charge it, just to get it to boot up, it acts funny.
Oh, okay.
And unfortunately, that never really sorted itself out.
Oh.
So I recently was working with the folks at Microsoft PR, and I want to send a thank you because they've been incredibly attentive for a channel my size.
Absolutely.
I mean, like, there are times where we've had these experiences. You reach out to the PR, and they're like, I don't know, I guess it's broken. All right, well, sorry. And you're like, well, but do you want me to talk about your broken product, or do you want me to really review the thing the way it's supposed to be used?
Exactly.
And Microsoft PR could not have been more attentive. I think they understood my reluctance to talk about it because this is a new enough product. I don't want to misrepresent what it does well.
Yeah.
Because there's so much discussion about all the compromises you need to make. Oh, it's Windows on ARM. That means you can't run legacy software from Windows 95.
But I don't think that's
It's x86 software. It's 16-bit software that people need, and you can't do it. You might as well throw it in the garbage because it's not as powerful as a Core i7, and it's not perfect for the things that I currently do on my gaming laptop.
And I think if you are that person, then this is absolutely not only over your head, but not even in the remote ballpark of being in the same field.
I'm very appreciative of the fact that they cycled it pretty quick. They made me do the dance of like, well, can you try this? Can you try that?
Oh, of course.
They wanted to get some more data on what was really going wrong. After a point, like they had me reset it. And then Windows Hello stopped working. And I was like, hey guys, I'm pretty sure this is just a bum tablet.
Yeah, I think it's on the downward cycle of end of life.
Right.
No,
and it's only a week old. So I have a new one. It's been running like butter.
See?
I mean,
once it's right,
so
it's
nice.
good. Yeah.
And I gotta say, I mean, from you have more experience on this. I have been very pleasantly surprised by the performance tier, given all the gnashing of teeth.
Yeah.
So I'm now like kind of a couple weeks behind everyone using the Pro 9. I was expecting like, oh, this is going to feel like a demonstrable step down in power.
No.
With the exception of a few things where you notice it takes longer to install a
Absolutely.
program.
Yeah. No, that part you'll notice.
Like that kind of stuff, you're like, oh, okay, I get it. But I also have like a Surface Laptop Go 2 with a Core i5.
That's the one we have, yeah.
And if I want to do something like fire up a game, then most of them play better on the Pro 9. So we are in this weird kind of in-between power space where
Yeah.
the Pro 9 is kind of around, again, depending on what you want to do, it's between like a Core i3 and a Core i5, but
Yeah.
battery life is significantly better
Crazy.
than on a laptop with a more traditional form factor and a much lower resolution.
No,
screen.
absolutely. And for me, that was the biggest kick. I was explaining, I left LA, we were at LAX in the morning. It was on a full charge. Landed in Maui. We were having to find the local, the car rental wasn't at the airport. It was apparently we rented one from off-site. So all of those things I know could have done from my phone, but it's so much easier to do on the laptop
Yeah.
because you open it and it's on and it's full desktop experience, tablet mode. For me, honestly, I've realized what the power of the 8CX or the current generation of what we have. I think the Q3 is what they call it.
Yeah, they call it the Q3. It's a variation on the 8CX.
Essentially,
Gen
yeah,
3.
it's
Yeah.
and Qualcomm basically was showcasing this exact laptop
Yeah.
on stage.
I mean, it's the crown jewel of Windows on ARM.
No, absolutely.
So-
And we did the live stream, our last live stream. I watched back and I'm like, wow,
looked good.
This actually wasn't bad at all. Like
Yeah.
by comparison, if I was doing it from a phone.
Well, and also just, hey, good on Qualcomm for 5G in a spot
In
with
my-
5G.
Oh yeah, no. So it's no surprise, obviously.
Where
few
they
years
hold
back-
the Qualcomm event has good 5G.
5G.
Yeah, that's a good look for them.
The 5 years ago, do you remember the McLaren edition?
Yeah.
Team? Okay, so they launched that at this event,
Right.
and they apparently never took the towers down. So
Oh,
T-Mobile
geez.
has great 5G at the Grand Wailea.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, I was sitting in the middle of the hotel. Obviously, it was early in the morning on Saturday, on the Friday, sorry. And we did the whole live stream on it. The battery went obviously to 50%, as you'd expect,
Yeah.
full screen on for over an hour.
Screen, camera,
But-
and data connection. running
Absolutely,
full
yeah.
clip.
And for me though, on that other day, it lasted me for almost a day and a half of usage, getting on it, checking. Now, yes, I can't play games, but that's not why I want.
Oh, I'm playing
Pro
a
9.
lot of games.
But it depends on what you want it for.
So
For me, so yeah,
No.
we installed Steam. We know Steam
yeah,
installs.
yeah,
So it's
we
not
know
like you
Steam
can't play
launches.
games.
I'm just now starting to dig through some of my Epic Games library. I feel this is just behind the practical performance of something like a Steam Deck. And
Okay.
if you're a junkie for classic console games, for
Oh, yeah.
indie titles,
Mhm.
like, it is a monster performer. I think the thing that lets it down as a Windows computer for gaming, it does that thing in almost all PC titles where it tries to play the game at full resolution in that 3:2 aspect ratio.
Mhm.
So it's an unconventional aspect ratio at an insanely high resolution.
Yeah.
And this is a problem I've had with a lot of mid-spec gaming laptops. So I can't even say that this is unique, but if you only try to install and push play game
Mhm.
on a very surface level, get it, surface, it's going to be a terrible experience because it doesn't have the horsepower to drive.
Well-
What is it, 2880 pixel display? Isn't that what the
Oh, the resolution.
resolution?
Yeah.
So if you kick it down to 720, there are a bunch of titles that, like, I was surprised. Like, I put in the Game of the Year edition of Arkham Asylum.
Arkham Asylum. Okay.
Okay, that's not a beefy game by today's standards, right?
Yeah.
It's it's definitely showing its age a little bit, but I was getting 50 frames per second in 720p. Like,
It's actually where most.
that's insane. That's faster than it would play on the consoles of its age when it came out. That was a
is.
30 frame per second game back in the day. And
I-
here's a little ARM chipset. I mean, the back of it's running a little warm to do
Oh
that,
no, don't
but
get me
it's
wrong.
doing it.
Yeah, when we live stream, definitely the back top part of it was running warm.
And especially under the hinge, it
Yeah, yeah.
almost acts like a heat soak.
Like a heat soak in there. No,
Yeah.
the design is, for me, the design was absolutely on point.
Yeah.
But you're right. Yeah, no, you need to understand, and I want to also kind of.
Oh, yeah, we got some comments.
No, absolutely. So Farhan's jumping in with it says, most of the time people don't usually compare Windows on ARM to Windows x86. They compare it to Windows, to basically Apple Silicon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the reality, yeah, in that ARM race, obviously there's
Sure.
advancement, development support, and there's a whole bunch of things coming up from Apple on their side. Windows, I think, so with Orion announcement.
No. Let's just do Surface Pro 9.
Oh, so to, let's
iPad
say
Pro. Surface Pro 9. There's an iPad Pro.
That
there's
runs-
there's a cellular 5G connected iPad Pro coming out.
Yeah.
And if you spec them all out, say 256 gigs of storage,
Mm-hmm.
a pen,
And a
and a keyboard.
Yep.
And the iPad Pro at 256 is going to be roughly an $1,800 combo with the keyboard and the pen.
Yeah.
And right now, the Surface is on sale, so it's a $1,600 Windows system.
Yeah.
Fully, I mean, at the similar configuration.
Yeah.
You have to answer for yourself, do you want the tablet that's going to be more powerful for gaming and graphics? That would be the iPad.
Absolutely. Mobile gaming.
Do you
by the way,
want
mobile gaming and graphics?
a full
Yeah.
desktop UI with much better support for full office-grade productivity software and better support for accessories?
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, plugging in a second monitor into the Surface is completely different than plugging another monitor into an
I
iPad.
have a video coming out about that, but yes, keep talking.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
And it's funny because I think TK and I are on the same brain for potentially making the same video independently of each other.
You think he's joking? I
No,
actually, now that
no.
I'm thinking about it, I actually have a feeling he
We're-
did the
we
exact
have
same
very
video I
similar
did.
commentary on that.
Oh, Chris.
But I feel
We
like
gotta
we've
do
got-
better at
But
talking,
we've got to drive
seriously.
this point home because it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
an oranges to oranges comparison.
No.
If we just say Apple M2 better, okay, that's fine.
Horsepower maybe, but functionality.
But how you actually put
Yeah.
the rubber to the road and how you actually use it,
Yeah.
and what
Yeah, yeah.
kinds of apps and programs you're likely to use, I think it's a fair fight. I don't think you can always say like, well, this has a V12 and this has a V6, so this one is better. And you're like, okay, cool, but that's a V12 in a semi and that's a V6 in a tiny Porsche. So which one really is going to be more fun to drive? You know, like you've got to kind of put those pieces together in a way that makes sense
Yeah.
for a specific or a particular kind of workflow. And the second I plugged a monitor, or I plugged in real air, because that was actually the first thing
No,
that
no,
I
no,
did.
no. But that's what it is.
The second I did that,
Plug
and
and
it
play.
worked just like Windows always works to do that, and I still had all the fun eye candy. The screen is gorgeous. Windows 11 has improved so much on touch and
It's
swipe
the latest
interactions.
edition of Windows 11, especially with the gesture functionality.
It's
I mean,
so
we saw it at
pretty.
the show floor, and it's so much more fun to do it
Yeah.
in real life. Like and it follows your gesture. The snapping functionality, the new tab functions that we get in Explorer.
I mean, the face unlock is scary fast.
Scary and always on.
So I mean, like I open the tab. I'm working at my main workstation, and I open the Surface. I just kind of tip it open so that the Windows Hello will come up.
Yeah, you
and
talk.
all I need to do is that,
By the way,
and it unlocks.
no
and it's
coincidence that I
so-
have a
Oh.
Snapdragon computer. So last year when I was at the Snapdragon
I'm
Summit,
jealous, I
they,
want one of
they
those.
handed these empty ones because they were announcing obviously the
So my
upgrade.
coffee's at 145 degrees now.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's
Yeah,
really, it's really nice.
No,
It's
okay,
keeping my
that's
hands warm.
fudge. Okay, so what Juan is covering and obviously talking as I was talking the whole time. So this is literally it. You picked it up, whatever. If it's in your backpack, you take it up.
It's real pretty.
By the time you do this, you're already logged in.
Yep.
Oops, that's how Hello, let me take this off. Windows Hello is extremely fast. The keyboard, the new pen,
Everything's been just spot on.
everything. And then of course you have the kickstand, the 5G modem that we're talking about, the SIM card and the
That's another thing is, how do you get a storage upgrade on an iPad? You don't.
You don't, no, because you don't.
It blows my mind that this is an ARM-based computer, but Microsoft has still included the ability with a pin tool to pop open, and if you want to put in a 1 terabyte drive.
SSD, you want to be able to put in a SIM card, take it out, easy, customize it, eSIM
Hey,
configuration.
SIM card. That sounds like old-fashioned technology.
Yeah,
Why
Apple
would
does-
Microsoft use that?
Because Apple does it. No, just kidding. No, but so literally, I mean, the functions that we get out of it, for me, gaming
It's
is
more like
yeah,
a computer.
it
I
is
like
for
that
me.
it's
I
more
felt
like
like
a
it was a
computer.
computer. I was able to take notes. I was covering the event with it. I was going from one room to the other, never having to worry about where Wi-Fi connectivity is available.
Yeah.
And which is weird. For some reason, I could never find the password whenever I'm at a conference. Like I know there's a Wi-Fi, you can see it on your phone, but to get the actual password, so
I mean, you can run more than like 6 apps at the same time without the whole thing
absolutely.
crashing.
Window sharing, and then of course all the functions that you normally want to do. This is why I really, like I fell in love with the Pro 9 more after I got it than before when I was excited for just the sheer
True story.
existence of it. The audio from the podcast that was done
Yeah, it was- sounded
entirely
great.
was on there. The microphones did their job
Sounded really
exactly.
good.
The camera was on point. I almost wanted to do this entire live stream from it, but I felt like we don't have enough tripods to be able to set it
Well,
up.
and not only in that, like right now, I
It's
feel like
calming down.
your Sony is right on the border though. If it starts sprinkling again, where your phone's gonna get soaked. So.
Oh yeah, so yeah, keeping it as far as So we're running on the Xperia 5. Sorry, Xperia 1 Mark. Sorry.
Xperia 1 Mark 4.
Sorry, yeah, 1 Mark 4. And for everybody in the chat, I want to say obviously welcome to everybody. Gabrieletta's in there, Farhan. I know, like 20 minutes in.
This is the best
Suddenly,
intro
like, we're
we've ever
jumping in.
done.
Dan, Grounded Tech is in there. Greg,
Hi,
Simon
Dan.
Says Hypno, Jimmy Fire Dragon's in there.
Well, thanks for tuning
everybody
in,
kicking it with
everybody.
us, and of course Farhan. Always appreciate you, man. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. It's super exciting. I'll say this: it's super exciting, and I feel like it for me, with the fact that we did the laptop Go 2. That for me showed me how nimble a Surface could be.
Yeah.
I took that with me. We went on a family trip as well. It just happened to be the timing where we got them. And with the Pro 9, I had the opportunity to travel to 2 separate events continuously. And although I did bring my desktop, that was purely, not desktop, my desktop grade laptop. I'll say that, my Creator, which we'll talk a little bit about the MSI one. That was mostly for rendering video because I didn't need to create content. But I never had to take it with me. I never had to lug the entire thing.
Have you played with Clipchamp?
So I played with it as much as I can. I tried creating some social stuff
Doesn't it
from
feel
it.
like a little too simple?
It's not. I feel like I need more.
It feels like a TikTok machine, right?
A little bit, and
Yeah.
but for me, I also feel like clip art does. It's like no, not clip art. Oh my God, what is it called? And now I'm forgetting the name of it. My editing tool that I use, I can't remember.
But for doing like thumbnails and stuff?
Oh, for thumbnails, yeah. No, I usually use Photoshop.
Oh, okay.
I have Photoshop installed, and I also have.
Affinity just updated to the version 2, so I have to now try that out.
Okay.
See if Affinity is playing well with the Surface.
I like the concept of Clipchamp in there. It was easy, it was simple, because we got introduced to it also with the laptop Go 2. And they just did a major update recently. But
they're tying in a basic level with
CapCut,
your
that's what I use.
Microsoft 365 account, and like I get it, and that's fine. I'm still harassing the folks at LumaFusion to make a version of it available on the Amazon App Store.
Okay, yeah.
Because then I can just
then
buy
can
it
just
again,
run it in there
and I can run it on Windows. So
yeah. No,
I don't know that that's going to happen anytime soon.
So
but
the way I got LumaFusion to work on my Surface Pro 9 is by using Dex.
Yeah.
So Dex on PC works. So I was super excited because then I was like, how do I get it?
You turned one computer into another computer.
I just turned
to
one
use a
computer into another. Yeah,
computer,
so I was like, will Dex on PC work? I was like, oh my God. I installed them, like, oh crap, it does work. You get mouse, keyboard configuration, all the functions that you normally get with Dex on PC, because again, it's a PC.
Right.
You know, not a tablet running iOS, Mac OS, not Mac OS, sorry, iOS on tablet.
iPad OS. Yeah.
iPad OS, which essentially is iOS for tablets. So long story short.
You know what's really cool?
Yeah.
Is spending less than $1,800 and having a calculator app built in. Like you don't have to go looking for a calculator.
You don't have
app.
to go to the App Store and download the calculator
No.
app. But I like to look for calculator.
I like looking for needless, utilities and features that should just be included at launch, right?
So
I spent $200 less and I got a calculator app.
And you get a better, in my experience at least, you get a better user experience. So everything on this works. I know I keep like championing it like it's the best thing since sliced bread.
Well, again, this is an important step for. Okay, I don't want you to get us wrong. It's not like the thing is I just had to reply to another person in my YouTube comments who was feigning shock that I had nice things to say about the Moto Edge Plus. I just recently wrote up, I didn't shoot a full video, but I wrote up just some revised camera experiences because the Moto...
on, like a crazy sale.
Well, it was $499.
Yeah.
The 512 gig version of the phone.
Uh-huh.
I mean, this is one of the most powerful pocket computers of the year.
Yeah.
And it's neck and neck with a bunch of mid-rangers. But again, someone's just like, you really recommend this thing? And you're like, yeah.
My answer would have been, are you ready for this
Why
thing? But,
wouldn't you? But again, it's like you've got to constantly, and I'm not saying of anyone in the comments, because if you're watching a podcast like ours, then you're smarter than the average bear. You have excellent taste in podcasts, and you're probably a really sexy individual who members of whatever gender or preference that you like probably like you too.
And we appreciate you liking and subscribing to the channel.
Those are the kind of people who do things like subscribe and smash bell icons.
Always.
Obviously.
Always. No, I appreciate it.
But again, it's like I've got to spoon feed people this whole idea of compartmentalization.
Ooh, Barry Johnson's in there. Hey, Barry.
And
How you doing?
see,
Sorry.
Barry Johnson is
Yeah.
a very attractive man. But
how you doing?
when you pick up the Surface Pro 9, I'm having that same feeling that I had with the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
This is a practical, usable first step of the conversation.
Absolutely.
I feel Windows on ARM in the past has been treated like a public beta. I've been here for it because I'm a nerd who likes to use his phones to replace laptops.
Yeah.
But your recommendation is very tempered by that. I have far fewer qualms making a broader recommendation for the Pro 9 SQ3, but this is obviously not the end of a journey. This is just that first step, because you were about to talk about those new Qualcomm ARM
Qualcomm
for
came out on
PC
stage
cores.
and made a major announcement, obviously, announcing the brand new chipset Orion. Unfortunately, they didn't give us a lot of data, but 2023 Summit will be featuring the announcement, obviously, and maybe hopefully hardware for us to test. The excitement that I saw there is because how well it was done with this generation of Windows on ARM and what the Pro 9 5G is doing. And by the way, we're calling it by different names, but the reality is the same one. The Pro 9 5G is the model we have. There is a standard Pro 9 that's a standard Intel model. But it's not a 5G connected. The 5G is the mobile.
There's the traditional Surface Pro 9 with a Core i5 and a Core i7.
Yeah, those are the two.
And then there's the SQ3, which is just their 5G.
Which, for me, honestly, for a small portable laptop, it is absolutely
digging.
And so for me, I can seriously recommend for productivity, what I usually put in is, obviously I'm not producing video off of it, but if I want to, I can technically. I can jump in on LumaFusion and produce a video and render it on a mobile device. So it's a Windows on ARM with an Android on ARM. LumaFusion, well, the last update kind of like,
it broke my projects.
Yeah, so I was talking about this when we were at like MediaTek. I launched it and I was like, okay, this is cool. So when I was on the plane going to Maui, I decided to start editing a video in LumaFusion on my phone. And then when I got to the hotel, plug the phone into DeX, and suddenly my entire desktop experience is the same. That's one of the few things I feel like Samsung did well and I think Ready For is also doing very similarly. Is that transition from mobile to desktop with the desktop experience on there. And that's what I'm really appreciating. We need to see more of that.
Continuity.
Yeah, exactly. I can transfer the experience and be in the middle of exactly where I left off. So that was exciting for me. Not that I didn't want to just basically try to figure out, a better way to get LumaFusion. But the story, I guess what I'm trying to shoot for is it's an easier recommendation for me now. If I have to have somebody who's like, okay, I want something with really good battery life. I'm not going to be doing heavy things. I need something that is connected, good battery life, runs Windows, and can run my Office applications, can run Chrome. I have a lot of my interfaces are based on web-based interface.
Yeah.
This is going to work great.
Firefox has been flying.
Absolutely. And
a bunch of individual apps have been working really well.
I think we have like 16 gigs of RAM on this one.
It's got surprisingly broad support for games that I wasn't really expecting.
Steam, Epic, and even...
I feel like this is going to be the double-edged sword.
Yeah.
I feel it's going to be a pro and a con, because I really believe the Surface Pro is already kind of a niche product.
Absolutely.
Trying to convince consumers that they want a Windows laptop in a tablet form factor. The Surface as a whole still only represents like 5% of the PC market.
Well,
so when I look at the Pro as an actual mobility tool, I think there's a solid argument to be made for corporate IT.
Oh, absolutely.
So you've got workers on the road, or you've got employees that need to do things remote. Now I am much more confident in recommending something like the SQ3 to that tier of mobile employee. Their IT department has some initial teething pains to work out what might be compatible software, what might work, what might not. But once you do that, I think you're in much better shape with a tablet that is better connected, is better repairable than an iPad, and can be at least tacitly upgraded for those mobile employees that might need like more storage or something like that.
Oh, you can connect external storage and other things. It has two USB-C ports on the side for power and accessories.
But what I mean is like that IT department that's like having to service an image, dozens, if not hundreds, of employee productivity devices. Now I think the Surface actually has a better claim to be made, because we see a lot of halfway solutions. You've got Panasonic and like the hardcore industrial side now working more with Android as some type of replacement for old Windows CE devices, and you still have a bunch of corporate IT departments that are trying to figure out how does an iPad work into this kind of flow.
Yeah, yeah.
And you see all of these different devices that kind of do the thing, but that aren't really built for it.
Yeah.
And now if you need just computer on a radio that can go anywhere, Windows on ARM is now a much more enticing proposition, and the Surface is the first step of that. Now I'm hoping we'll see a similar solution from Lenovo, a similar solution.
So that's what I was going to say. Lenovo is
Dell
the other company that has basically the last generation of the HCX
Sure.
on mobile. So basically Lenovo and
But Lenovo's slow to cycle, and so now we have the SQ3, and they're going to have to figure out a laptop strategy that maybe looks a little bit more like a yearly smartphone refresh, as opposed to letting that product go an extra year.
Yeah.
You know, again, this one, it matters when you're at that first step, because if you're at the step behind the first good step, you're going to feel really left out. if you're on an SQ3, and then obviously next year we're going to have even better stuff, I'm not too upset. I understand, like, okay, well, things are progressing.
Yeah.
If I was on an SQ2 or an SQ1, like the original Surface X,
the first one was just
I'm not
the Surface
getting the
X.
same kind of support. I'm not getting the same kind of performance, and it was really shaky. It never really got good. The SQ3
never got
launched
the love.
Good.
It kind of went out. It was released. A few people talked about it, and it just kind of for me it vanished.
Yeah.
Second generation was almost. We had the whole pandemic kind of obviously overshadowing a lot of things. People were home. People were buying Chromebooks. There was a lot more Chrome OS features, and and we see the features, and his hands being very warm was not jealous at all over here. But
if you can add a battery powered coffee mug.
So that I'm going to add that to my shopping list now. I will say though, thank you very much. Roger from Roger Bot is in the chat with us, of course, and Barry just man, I'm just trying to get like oh my God, Barry's just being a charmer on as always.
He's a very charming individual.
Absolutely, no, absolutely. Sorry, I'm like checking in there. So, for me, it's exciting. Like I said, I felt as excited as that picture that you posted of. I want to say, was that your mom and dad that were on the Steam
Deck with the Unreals,
Unreal.
man.
The first time I had that experience was on a trip to Germany. I stole his Unreals for a while. I feel so bad.
He had him for a bit.
Yeah,
I really wanted him back.
Quite a bit. But no, for all the other classes that I've had, because I've obviously I've played with the Unreals, I've played with the TCLs, and I like both ecosystems. I will say one thing that struck me after I gave back the Unreals is the fact that the Unreals used a standard USB-C cable, like just a high-quality USB-C cable, was actually a little bit more functional for me than the TCLs using a proprietary cable. I can't extend the cable. Nope. I cannot buy an extension. Like I'm trying to find how to make the cable longer, because using it with a Steam Deck, it's in front of you. Using it with the Pro 9, in front of you. Trying to use it with a desktop PC that the case is not sitting in front of you.
It's tough.
It's hard, and I tried using a USB-C to USB-A converter, doesn't work. Use USB-C or USB-C extension cable, doesn't work. It uses a proprietary cable, so I'm going to try to maybe put a little bug in the people that I was working with at TCL, like, hey, include a longer cable, or include an extension, something like that.
Give us some way to extend it.
Yeah. Or a converter to a USB-A option or something like that. But long story is, it's so much fun. Putting that on in a plane where there's not enough room for anything, but then the feeling suddenly that you're in a private room with no glasses. You put in your Bluetooth headset. Well, we were at MediaTek.
Yeah.
I forgot to mention, I had him with me. I didn't have the package, but I had it. I forgot what movie. After we were done with the whole day, I just sat in bed and I watched a movie. It was just, and then literally it was so much fun.
It's so good.
So it's one of those things I feel like.
The biology is, I think, what's most interesting, is because my parents are techies. I have very tech-savvy parents.
You hand it over, and then they're like, yeah, this makes sense.
For my mom, she was holding a game-playing device, so she kept looking at her hands. And you're like, Mom, she's like hunched over this table, and like you can see her shoulders are kind of shrugged up.
She's probably trying to see outside of the glasses just to see the screen.
But again, she's just programmed. I'm holding a portable game-playing device. I'm looking at the game-playing device, and I would have to keep reminding her, like, Mom, sit back, relax,
enjoy.
Don't you can look up. You can lay down. You can do anything you want. And so she would. Oh yeah, right. And then she would slowly kind of crumple back down into her hands. For my dad, it was lateral movement. So the photo that I shared of my dad is hilarious because he's playing Shredder's Revenge and he's on a mission. So the screen's moving. Your character moves, and he's following the character, and he would end up at the end of the table, and he'd be like rolled into the back, and he couldn't move any further, and be like, "Dad, you can sit up." Like, "Oh, right." And then he did it again, where like over the course of an entire level, he's like rolling back.
You're used to
into the
playing
edge.
on a screen where you follow the character, where you move with it. No, I get it.
It was just really sweet and charming to see, like,
I'm just excited
generationally we have I have interacted with gadgets in a particular way.
Yeah.
And when Lex is a teenager, she's gonna make fun of me because, like, why are you using your hands? You don't need to use your hands. Just do the thing. And you're like, oh.
Dude, I remember when we first tried to put him on a PC, I gave him a desktop and I gave him a monitor, and the first thing he tried to do was pinch and zoom on the monitor. I'm like, crap.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a different generation, different experience. He's expecting a touch interface on everything. And we didn't even get a touch interface on Chrome. So both his Chrome OS laptop, which is an Acer, an older one, and his PC are non-touch. But then he obviously has tablets. We finally got him on the TCL Tab 10, the 5G that we got.
Yeah.
Really nice. I got him updated because the old Huawei that we had, not as many birds this time, which I'm appreciating.
They're a lot quieter this morning.
Yeah, they're enjoying the calm and the rain, but the airport is still running.
Yeah. I would not want to be taken off in this. This is like split pea soup.
We can't even
California
see the
skies.
plane. That's the weird thing. It's flying above us.
Let me just tell you, as this plane flies over and you can't hear anything reasonably anyway, California drivers in the rain.
Oh my God.
Holy crap, are they scary?
It's not only rain, but also fresh rain. And when I mean by this, where it hasn't rained for a while.
Yeah.
And the first generation, the first rain we call a storm, generally slicks the road and everything. And so on the way in, I was telling Juan, there's a truck that flipped over from one side into the other side. That's how bad it was.
And then you have people still like trying to go the speed or 5 miles over the speed limit.
Exactly, because they forget that
I found a semi. I floated the semi. We're doing 45 miles an hour whole way here. I was just drafting this truck. It was great. Everyone would like run right up onto my bumper and then get around me, and I was fine. It was beautiful.
It just timing-wise, why we pushed the stream, and we were
just a little bit, and we were still late getting it started.
Then we had even more StreamYard things.
Fine.
So for me, those are the exciting. Surface doing really good stuff.
Yeah.
The headphones 2, as I talk to you guys, they're not new. There is the headphones 2 Plus, but I found out that they're more business centric. They're not necessarily consumer.
Yeah,
so
it's
we
more of
can't
a
even buy 'em.
headset. Yeah, for sure.
Which apparently does include voice over USB-C, which we didn't have on ours.
See,
that was that one thing I was like,
I haven't had that since the Barodynamic Lagoons, and the Lagoons were great until the headband got really loud, creaky. I'd kill just to have a DAC built into cans like that again.
Yeah.
You can just plug them in, and it'll go over the hardware of a USB-C cable.
Exactly.
to
Reduce
transfer the
any
audio.
chances for that. So for me, that was my only thing, honestly. But
Yeah.
I would recommend them. They were on sale for $200. Hopefully, they're still going to be
good.
available, and they're a good pair. And the audio sync that I had with it, it was a hit and miss. Not everything was out of sync. I had videos, like I was watching videos on Netflix on the Fold. It worked fine. But then other times I'm watching on YouTube, and it's like, what am I watching? Like the audio just doesn't.
Way off.
So
The worst one for me was Plex. I was streaming something off of my Plex, and it was like almost a tangible 3/4 of a second between action on screen and then audio coming to my ear. So I ended up turning that into just a movie podcast. Because like I can't sit here and watch this, but
speaking of movies,
that's been the worst one.
movies and podcasts, I saw your tweet this morning. You're gearing up for a holiday special.
Yeah.
A holiday special.
Yes.
I saw yesterday. I think was it. Okay, I take that back. So obviously we all know that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
It's not only a Christmas movie; it's one of the best holiday films ever made.
Absolutely.
And I say this in total genuine appreciation for
John McClane would approve. Hashtag
Yippee-ki-yay.
Yippee, mother lovers.
Mr. Falcon.
Mr. Falcon. But I wanted to kind of touch base a little bit. I know we're running about 44 minutes in there. I'm not. Not that I don't. I think we have enough time.
We're just hanging out today.
Oh no, absolutely. and we are in a almost secluded area. There's very few people because it's raining. It typically brings a lot quieter environments here.
Again,
typically, you guys remember the lawnmower and the clippers that were here last time. And the guy was like right up there.
We had guys scraping muck with a shovel, and he's gone now. So that's been way quieter.
The guy was there earlier. Yeah, no. So I talked to you earlier this week
Yes.
about, so I finally switched out of the Fold. I
Yeah.
was using the Fold for quite some time, and I had struggled.
You were having some frustrations with the Fold in
Just-
some very, I want to say in some very unconventional ways. Like core functionality didn't seem to be as much of an issue.
The Fold
but
this
you
year
were-
just weirdly set up. Like it felt like a stepchild more so than a flagship. And I know it's not supposed to be a competitor to the S22 Ultra. I came to the Fold from the S22 Ultra, right? So when I'm comparing Samsung to Samsung ecosystem, it felt like such a step down, at least at launch. Things did get better. I'm not gonna try to knock it down, like make it sound like it's the worst thing ever. But like at the beginning, we didn't have ultra capacity, T-Mobile ultra capacity support. It wouldn't even show up. Processing power is throttled through the roof. It's an 8 Plus Gen 1, more powerful than the 8 Gen 1 that I have on
well,
my
and
S22
better.
Ultra.
It should have better.
And it should have better
sustained
performance. Absolutely.
performance,
But consistently underperforming what the S22 Ultra does, purely because Samsung decided you are.
Well, I think it was because they got so many criticisms about the Fold 3's battery life, deservedly.
Well, I mean,
But
that's
you get to
partially
this-
their problem and partially the SoC they were running at the same time.
For sure.
But the concern that I had with it is they were so scared of what happened before that they no longer even allow us at $1,800 to manage how we want to run our phone.
Yeah.
Even when I had it plugged in to power, and and not that again, benchmarks are not the performance reference. The reason why I'm saying this is, at Qualcomm, I was trying to run some
sure.
benchmarks with the 8 Plus Gen 1 with the 8 Gen 2. I was sitting in a benchmarking session, and I wanted to see what the performance is. And unfortunately, that was the only 8 Plus Gen 1 I had. Everything else I had was prior
And
generation.
you're like, that's not a good representation.
And it
of
was
an
such a
8 Plus
bad
Gen 1.
representation. It made
Yeah.
Samsung look really bad. It was.
It should make Samsung look really bad because Samsung didn't.
They did
do
it to
that
themselves. Yeah, no,
very
absolutely.
well.
So there were those little hiccups in there. And then at some point after a while, also, I will say nothing against foldables. I like foldables. Obviously, I use them. I find the Find N from last year from Oppo's, the openingless feature where you're able to close the entire thing, so much better because over time, so much dust gets in there.
Yeah.
If you use it as a daily driver, you don't think you have any dust or lint in your pocket. Well, I bet that you have this device, you'll know exactly how much you have.
Yeah,
Because
I
all
get-
of that goes in.
I get super tweaky about how I'm constantly wiping the screens on my Duo.
Yeah, and for me,
Yeah.
it gets even worse because we have a screen protector there that
Right.
I'm constantly rubbing against. And now I started to see some dust kind of building up at the edges. So all of that kind of made me angsty. And I've been using the Pixel 7 Pro as my second device. I've had it in
Same.
my work SIM card. But on Monday, I think I decided to just do the flip. So I took out my SIM card. I'm no longer using the Z Fold 4. I'm on the Pixel 7 Pro. And the only reason why we're not filming on it right now is because of a technicality thing
Yeah,
with
just for
StreamYard.
audio
It has
and
nothing to do with it.
Yeah, when it comes to audio,
StreamYard.
Sony.
Yeah, no, when it
You know,
comes to
like-
audio, the Xperia 1 Mark IV is the gold standard right now, if not any Xperia, seriously.
Sure.
And the Xperia 5 is out as well. So the long story is I finally switched over, and it's been so nice.
Yeah. It's another step. Again, I soapbox on this a lot, so I'm not going to go too deep. If you want, I'll make a standalone video on it. I'm so over benchmarks. The Pixel 7
No.
Pro handles real life stuff
Oh my God.
better than most of the phones that launched at the beginning of this year.
Yeah.
And the phones that I think handle workloads better than the Pixel 7 Pro do so at the expense of thermals and battery.
No, absolutely. And
So.
and I've been like so happy. So I've been happy with the
It's a
7
better
Pro since.
phone.
It-
It's not a good computer. It's a better phone.
It's a better phone. It works perfectly. I love the integration with services with Google. The speech to text on this is so fast.
The cameras are better.
Oh, way better. No, absolutely. Everything
Yeah.
on, especially with the telephoto lens, it built on everything I liked about the 6 Pro and took it to the next level. Connectivity is also fixed on this as well. So much better radio connections. Bluetooth, no issues at all for me. Connection. I had
My
the
Bluetooth
Surface
has
Pros.
been a little tweaky.
So for me, on the
So-
Pros, on the headphones too,
Yeah.
I would leave it on the wireless charger, the Pixel wireless charger from last year,
Uh-huh.
and I would literally go across the house.
Oh, that's good.
Audio was like crystal clear, no issues at all.
But my one caveat to that,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the thing that I think is fair to sort of criticize at how diversified our
yeah.
landscape is now.
Yeah. No, I was
so
gonna,
like
yeah, we'll get to that.
so I've got some really good headphones that are aptX adaptive.
None of
Nope,
that.
because
Nope.
you're on sensor.
so
So
that's
then I've
the
purposely
one-
paired some LDACs.
Yeah.
And I've got two pairs of a pair of earbuds and a pair of cans that I really like over LDAC, and they don't like the Pixel. So my Bluetooth range, you can clearly hear when it's dropping to a
So-
lower quality.
For me, the reason I think I got the range is because I was on SBC.
Oh, okay.
You remember that? So the headphones do support AAC, aptX, and SBC, and I think for the most part I was running SBC.
SBC.
So
Yeah.
I got range, and the audio
Range
still
for days there.
Yeah, no, and that was the thing. I think for me, and battery for days too.
Yeah.
I love the battery.
It's a
on
lower
those.
power.
But I honestly, like, for when I really want to listen to music, I plug in my Bolt.
But like
have the option
that's the
to-
kind of conversation you got to get into where you can really highlight the deficiencies of the Pixel 7 Pro, and you're like, I have to balance my level of use against the intended audience for the Pixel 7 Pro.
Yeah.
And I feel like the people who are likely to pick up a Pixel 7 Pro might be inclined to pick up some Pixel Buds, and that's been great. So I feel like that's again. I'm pointing out.
Not that I'm trying to make it sound like it's a sponsored thing, and these were not.
Oh,
These
don't
we bought
wait,
those.
wait,
Yeah,
wait,
yeah.
hold on. We haven't done our hashtag
Standard
Team
hashtag
Pixel,
yeah.
hashtag gift from Google.
Oh yeah, do it. So the phone, the Pixel 7 Pro was gifted to us from Google for review. The Pixel Buds Pro
They have
are
had
not.
no input or contribution
So-
to any of the videos or commentary we have delivered on
And we
these
wanna say
products.
thank you very much to
But due to
Google for-
FTC regulations and compliance, we do have to disclose
Oh,
that
same
we
thing
were
with
given
Microsoft
these
as well.
products
Yeah.
for evaluation purposes. Thank you.
Please, please.
Please don't fine us.
Please
Please don't sue us like Google got sued for the Pixel 4 XL.
But thank you very much for both Google and Microsoft for allowing us to have these conversations on a rainy day on a really cold bench that's made out of concrete.
You know, I feel like the FTC needs to go a little further. In all seriousness, I feel like the FTC, if you get something under embargo for
Yeah.
evaluation purposes, even if no money
Oh,
has
yeah,
been-
Golan Lab is
has-
in there as well.
has
Good morning,
been
sorry.
exchanged, I feel like there needs to also be a disclosure because influence is also a currency. So we need to have a disclaimer saying, hey, I was given this in an early fashion to provide commentary on this product direct from the manufacturer, and there is a financial benefit to getting products early on social media. And if you would like to write your congressman to maybe step on the FTC a little bit, I would wholeheartedly support that, even though I would be one of the people that would have to comply with that regulation.
Oh my God, yeah. I'll explain. Yeah, so I'll say this.
If someone gets a product early, they make more money. And I feel
absolutely.
like that has a tangible effect on the kind of commentary some companies get away with. So,
No, I think for us with the Pixel, we were a little bit late to the game, but we were still part of the somewhat of a not early crowd, but
we were like first wave. I mean, there were a couple people who bought the phone and got it before we did.
Yeah.
We signed embargoes. I don't know if we should say this. We signed embargoes and got the phone after the embargo. So.
Yeah, it's shipping. Unfortunately, this time was a little bit more
Complicated.
mixed up a little
Yeah.
bit. But what I would probably say is, it has been, for me, the most refreshing Pixel to date.
Yeah.
Like prior to that, honestly, was the Pixel 4 XL.
Pixel
That
4
was, for
XL,
me,
and
was
I'm
the
feeling
game.
very similar to that.
Yeah, very similar. I just can't take my SIM card out of it. And to be honest, I was using it, but it was more of a second phone.
And in full disclosure, neither of us have been paid to say nice things about the Pixel 4 XL.
No, absolutely. Yeah,
We
yeah,
just both really liked that phone.
of a generational improvement upgrade. Although the Pixel 4 XL did not have a fingerprint sensor, the experience with Soli and the experience with the overall performance on
Right.
that phone, I seriously had a hard time taking my SIM card out of it. Because every time I considered taking the SIM card out, I would put it back in as soon as I'm done with the other phone, because I wanted to go back to more of a that
Outside of my
experience.
fanboy love for LG, I think it's been the Pixel 4 and now the Sony Xperia 1 Mark IV
Yeah.
that have kept my SIM card the longest. Outside of like
No,
I mean, I ran almost 3 years with the LG
did you get the
V60
update
being-
on the 1 Mark IV yet?
Oh no!
They just pushed out a 400 megabyte update on it.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah, yeah.
not Android 13.
No,
This
I wish.
week on
That'll be
Sony
January.
Watch.
Yeah, so we'll do it
Next
on his
time
phone. Yeah, we'll do it on his
Sony Watch.
Juan
Right.
will be getting that massive update right now.
System, software update.
Yeah. Come
Nope.
on, prove me. Oh, okay. So maybe you already
Your
have
device already has the latest available.
it. So you
system
probably
updates.
okay. So mine, I
Oh,
probably
I probably don't have it. I mean, that's
or maybe
what's
it just needs to
funny.
be on Wi-Fi or something. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. You can never tell. It's
Some
hilarious.
phones are picky. Some phones need a SIM card in, even if it's not active. Some phone needs to be in a specific geographic location to show up, so it depends on what you're doing.
And then you still just get put. I think they have like a batch of serial numbers, and they're pushing updates out in
Kind of
small.
like OnePlus does the same, and even no pun intended, but I mean Google does the same thing with their rollout.
Oh, yeah.
I more so.
They've been
most of the time,
staging their updates a lot.
yeah, and I
more
could just. I mean, you can
specifically now.
sideload it. It's not an impossible thing.
That's
but
what
the
I did
reali-
with my OnePlus 10 Pro.
Yeah, so I did the
Yeah.
10 Pro, and the 10T still doesn't have it.
Nope.
Like, oh my God. Okay, so the
But
long
the
story
iQOO
is
9
very
Pro
admirable.
beat it by a lot, and I gotta say I do like
My
Fun Touch.
my
but-
Find X5 Pro has received so many updates after getting even. I mean, we keep getting consistent. Like Oppo's been really hitting it out of the park. Speaking of Oppo, a couple of days ago, I found, I guess I don't even know who the gentleman is, but it was Michael Fisher, Mr. Mobile, retweeted somebody with a video of a new foldable. Oppo jumping into the flip side of foldables.
yeah.
So there's a flip version of it that looked like it officially did what Xiaomi did with
That side,
that back display. It was
Yeah.
is a small display for your phone. This one actually expanding to almost the entirety of the clamshell, making it really look like a small phone. So I'm excited to see more about that. No other information other than that person sharing a video of the phone being flipped, and it was inside of one of those camouflage cases. But so I'm excited to see more foldables, but the right format. I feel like Oppo, with their balanced experience with external and internal display, the Find N did it really good. I'm hoping they can bring that to that N flip,
Yeah.
whatever they're calling it, the N2 flip.
And we still need to see. Again, there's another airport.
Sorry, yeah, airport.
But we still need to see, like, for all of the leaks and all of the rumors that have come out, I'm very anxious to see what Google is going to do in this space, because I feel like this is just a personal feeling, and again, it has nothing to do with like Google product designers or engineers or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I really feel it's critically important for Google to get a tablet right next, as opposed
that's
to
right. That's right. So the
trying
tablet
to
is supposed to
impress-
come out.
Yeah,
next.
it's supposed to come out very similarly, and like I feel like Google gives just enough support to their hardware teams that if you spread them too thin, I think some of the attention to details can sort of get murky.
No, exactly.
And I feel like if we're really going to start making the play that Android is good for tablets now, you need to nail the tablet. And the tablet is very ambitious because it seems to be kind of a crossover product with smart displays and a home and an IoT and all this other stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I feel like that is more important for more consumers than trying to impress with a really, really expensive foldable tablet phone.
Which also many rumors have been going on for many years about the
Yeah,
foldable.
and we saw like a bunch of leaks, and
Yeah.
of course a bunch of like tech commentators like, oh, I think Google has bezels, and that's terrible. And you're like, you're an idiot. Shut up. Again, if it looks like a Pixel 7 Pro, but it expands into being a square tablet, it's gonna look awesome. So shut up.
Yeah, no, and I do appreciate the airport being very active. Apparently, now not that apparently we crossed a specific time, but no, I mean. The technologies we're going to see, we're at the cusp of CES. We're about a month away from CES 2023.
Yeah.
There's obviously going to be some announcements. There'll be some new things coming out. We know the 8 Gen 2, which just announced, the 9200 is officially over 9,000 now, is coming out as well. We know Vivo, I think they mentioned them on stage.
Yeah, Vivo is like aggressively partnering, so they're going to be, I think, the first launch devices for both.
I hope. And Vivo, if you're watching, call me. He's Team Vivo. I'm Team Oppo. Welcome to the club, the BBK Club. We're here. We're back. We're in full
this
force.
podcast still not sponsored
by BBK
by any BBK
or any
organizations.
manufacturing. No. But no. Speaking of which, though, I think so. Some of the things you'll probably start seeing from us in the near future. I know, kind of a little bit more housekeeping. I know you do housekeeping at the beginning.
Yeah.
I got to get better at organization. We are looking into trying to figure out the approach for our podcast and the different conversations we're having next year. So you'll see some changes. You'll see some things. We're still doing, like this time, we're still dual streaming it on the Android Bay. I found that, I think, honestly, I love having the guy with me on the show. I can't get him Saturday mornings.
This is way easier.
It's much easier, and we get a chance to see more of each other, which actually it's been the best part. Like,
It's
seriously.
the best of our week.
It is literally the best of our week. If I had to kind of like culminate the whole thing, it's the cold coffee that Juan dropped off this morning. Just kidding. It's the
I'm
coffee
so
that
sorry,
he brought
man.
over
I'm,
that's
I'm,
cold.
I'm telling you, like,
But
hold on.
Homeboy's been like brewing his at 150 degrees for the last hour.
It's so nice.
That's the kind of guy.
It's so, I mean, because it never really got cold, so you don't get that kind of like bitter, reheated kind of thing happening, and it keeps your hands warm.
Honestly, I appreciate. Actually, I'll say this: I appreciate him. I appreciate you getting me the coffee in the
You know,
first place.
if I need to warm up your hands, I can pull out the MSI.
We didn't talk about the MSI. We didn't even get to the MSI.
Do you want to take a minute? We can
Sure,
take a
sure,
minute.
sure. Let's talk a little bit more creative.
I'm really anxious to pull it out for long because, like,
Let me
the
hold your hot cup.
spray-
Hold on. I'll hold the hot cup.
Isn't it nice?
It
Okay.
actually does feel warm. He wasn't kidding.
So the only thing I don't like about that mug is that it's not the best insulated. So if you
Oh.
pour hot coffee into it, like
You
it
need
stays warm for a while, but
But
it
it-
cools off too fast. So then you need to use the battery to heat it back up. But anyway, that's about as much of a review on that as we should give. So this is the MSI Creator Z17, and I can't really set it up the way that I thought
would probably
because
say, yeah, watch out
there's
for the
one
food.
strip of dryness, and then we're getting
No, we're
like,
getting a little bit of
mist.
sideways rain. Like I'm getting
We
rain on my
actually-
glasses.
Yeah, my
Like, seriously.
eyes were fogging up, and I don't
Yeah,
wear
yeah, yeah,
glasses. So this is a Core i9 with an RTX 3080, all in a super sleek shell, 17-inch,
Nice.
flipping beautiful, 16 by 10, 2560 resolution, 165 hertz refresh rate, liquidy smooth display. I mean, it is. The Surface Pro 9 looks good. This is
Well, this is a creative. This
insane.
is a
And
production.
this is MSI's like nicest of the nice for the creator line. Full MSRP is like just shy of $6,000. But
Makes sense. Yeah.
it's
When you said
easily found,
165,
but
3080.
but it's easily found online for like 45.
No, I can imagine.
So
my
what
creator
they
from-
list at that MSRP is very aspirational. But yeah, it's a gorgeous 17-inch full. I can't really open it up and stuff, so I'm just gonna do the Vanna White, like kind of hand holding it here. But the thing that I was not prepared for, because I have not really played with mobile Core i9s.
Okay.
The thing that I wasn't really prepared for were how stark the differences are in performance between powered and on battery.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And
No,
so
it's
I know
night and day.
like MacBook owners went through a flavor of this, and like Dell, like hardcore workstation mobility products went through a flavor of this. I've never experienced that before. So I'm running these benchmarks. It's plugged in, I'm like DaVinci Resolve, and I'm doing compression, file management, doing all this stuff, and I'm like, these numbers are insane.
This is the
and
system.
this is easily going toe-to-toe with my beefy workstation with a Threadripper and a 2080 Ti.
Yeah.
So generationally, you always know like the mobile graphics
Well,
chips
it's
aren't
tempered.
exactly the same.
Yeah,
as
it's
the
tempered. The
desktop
naming
chips.
may be the same or similar.
But they always
You
feel
have
like a generation back.
It's because it's thermals and it's also the die shrink on it. It's actually a smaller physical footprint than what you typically get. But I understand, yeah.
So
You expect it.
I'm playing silly things too. Like obviously I fire up like Control and really turn up all of the ray tracing and everything. Like that's awesome. So I'm playing Tetris Effect, and I'm playing Tetris Effect because this is like one of the first times at full resolution, without any fancy like DLSS or because it's Tetris Effect.
No, I know.
But Tetris Effect is a surprisingly beefy game for being Tetris.
Yeah.
So at full resolution, it's pinned at 165 hertz.
Nice.
And you're like, that's beautiful. Oh, I need to go do something, but let me just pause my game and I'm going to move the laptop over to the living room. And I unplug the cable and it instantly drops Tetris Effect to 30 frames. It's
Whoa, okay.
dark.
Not even.
It is like, it's a completely
Like you went to-
different machine.
You went to basic Tetris. You lost the effect.
Right. I went to Nintendo Tetris.
Tetris.
Not Super Nintendo
DS
Tetris.
Tetris at this point. Yeah.
So again, this is a mobile desktop, right?
It's a desktop replacement
This
class.
is not something I would want to lug on a show floor in my backpack.
Oops, sorry.
Right?
Audio, appreciate. No. It's exactly why I felt like the Pro 9 5G made sense.
It's already getting mist on it, so I'm going to put it back in the backpack.
No, absolutely. I mean, we're talking form factors. Both of these are still thinner than some of the other laptops you see. Sorry, we're like showing it to the wrong side. This is how thin it is, right? And if I take the keyboard out, it's even thinner. I take these type of experiences with me when I travel. Mine is an Acer. He's using the MSI. And then what I'm saying is, although I don't take the Acer with me as I walk around, the Pro 9 does the job, and that's really where it is. You get these type of experiences. But it is dependent on power. It absolutely is. Not only that, battery life for me on my Acer is crap.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
tried
bad.
editing a video on the trip to Berlin when I was going for Xiaomi. I didn't even get an hour.
Nope.
And that was like, okay, I guess I'm not editing a video anymore.
I don't remember the exact numbers. I'm gonna have a video out. Whoops. Oh no, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have a video out breaking down some of my performance testing. But I was rendering a video in DaVinci Resolve, and I want to say it was something like a 15 to 20% performance drop. Unplugging it.
Yeah.
And I think the render time was, I don't remember the exact numbers. I want to say it was something like the render time took about 10 minutes to produce a 4K video, and that dropped the battery like 20%. And that's just the render.
Yeah.
So that's not doing any of the editing.
No.
Which would also have really
Scrubbing,
radically
scrubbing 4K 60 footage, going through.
would have wiped out a
Yeah,
good chunk of the battery
And-
too.
but that was the thing. I shoot now and I produce everything in 4K 60.
Yeah.
And I was on the, like, I seriously ended up having, I couldn't edit anything on it, because I was like thinking, oh my God, I'm gonna be able to plug in my laptop, I'll be perfectly fine. I plug in my laptop, charger doesn't work. It's too powerful for the power plug in the plane. That was out the door. I'm like, okay, I have a fully charged battery. I should be able to edit most of my video. I'll render when I land. Nothing happened. Barely got through 40, like about 30 minutes in, it started giving me the warning. And I barely even, I set up the time. That's all I was able to do.
I'm gonna take my coffee back.
Oh, you sure?
wanna just-
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, that's so nice. Oh, it's like a little hand warmer.
Welcome back to the show where he has warm hands and I got cold hands, and this is what we're
Take
doing.
that, Starbucks.
It's the holiday season. I mean, it's nice. It's still. I mean, it gives me energy, as you can see.
Yeah,
I'm like,
you know, you're caffeinated. That's, I mean, that's really
I
what
will be
matters.
running around this lake laps right now.
So I'm really liking this machine. Just like we were saying with the Surface Pro 9, there's a very specific kind of use case in mind for lower performance needs but higher mobility needs.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, like in my backpack right now are almost bookended products. So like when I was really hosting with Newegg a lot, we would go out, I would go out and host, I would have a producer, and often a producer and a camera guy, just to kind of help. We would usually run a team
I remember,
of 3.
yeah, when we were at CES that one time together.
And then we would have 2 guys in the hotel room just cutting as much video as they could. So like,
I need a crew
Trish,
like that.
Trish would have a crew, I would have a crew, and then there would be 2 editors, and we would just keep feeding those 2 editors as much content as we could.
Absolutely.
So when I was at Pocket Now, I would regularly have to go to a Samsung Unpacked and cut the video on the floor of the Samsung Unpacked. Like, it would take too long to get the footage back to an Airbnb and edit it there.
Absolutely.
Because we were going up against guys that had gotten pre-briefs. Because Samsung was feuding with Pocket Now while I was there, and Samsung PR was being really douchey about it. So I would sit there and I would have to edit on the floor of the event while they're trying to like kick me out, but they wouldn't give us any other access. So there's a laptop in my head that makes sense for editing video on the show floor. Then there's a laptop that makes way more sense if people are bringing you footage to like a press room or a hotel room.
Yeah.
And then there's a laptop where it's just like you've got all of this office and productivity stuff that needs to happen anywhere you have a cell phone radio.
Yep.
And each of these are very distinctly different kinds of solutions. And like one would be an absolutely terrible solution for the other. Like
it
trying
has to be deployed
replace
to the right. You're right. It has to be deployed to the right
one of
person, to the
these.
right tech.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing to keep in mind. What, like when you were talking about deploying a Surface Pro 9 to, let's say, like a business experience
Yeah.
where people need to be mobile.
Like
Absolutely.
think about insurance
your
adjusters.
work phone. Absolutely. Yeah. No. You
Hey
have to
man,
go,
we got a claim. There's a car accident on the side of the road. I need someone to come out. You're
Exactly.
like, bam,
Would
you're
you
there.
rather Would you rather have a tablet with a tablet OS, or would you rather have a PC that you normally would be working on when you're back at the office anyways?
Yep.
So to me, those are the experiences that really kind of it's the center of the conversation when you're thinking of a PC. It's not just what does it do when the plane is flying over you.
I don't know if you can hear it as loudly as we can, but it's distracting to us. It's so loud.
Because it goes right over us, yeah.
It hurts my ability to put words into sentences. So apologies for some of the...
because you're fighting with
downtime.
you're fighting with the plane, and the plane doesn't even know it's in a conversation. So for me, at the end, it's really more about gauging what you need and what you need to do with it, and then the right tool for the right experience.
Yeah.
At the same experience that Juan was
TK
going through.
The Surface Pro 9 doesn't play games.
Yeah. I mean, I
it
can't play
doesn't-
Call of Duty on
Yeah,
it.
it doesn't.
No.
It doesn't. You
No.
can't-
To me, it's.
It doesn't
I mean,
work.
it's like running. For
It
me,
should
I
just
feel
work.
like the purpose. It's a
It doesn't
purposely
just
built
work.
machine. It's a purposely built machine for what it does. And I feel like I'm excited. I'm hoping, I'll say this, I'm hoping that Orion does bring better development support and better conversations from, I mean, even more like, more so Adobe.
The only thing I need from Orion, and this is silly because it's not on Qualcomm, the only thing I need from Orion is for developers to start taking ARM more seriously.
No, that's exactly, no, exactly.
Have you tried Resolve?
Doesn't even, no.
Okay, so no, I'm serious. Like, every part of Resolve technically works, except it can't see an Adreno GPU. It doesn't know what an Adreno is, but it installs, it checks, it verifies the installation, and it completes the installation process, which means somewhere on that tablet is a functioning build of DaVinci Resolve, except it can't find a way to put out video because it doesn't know the GPU.
It doesn't, yeah.
And there's not enough people trying to run Resolve on an Adreno for DaVinci.
Well, it's the limitation.
For them to care about just adding the support for that GPU.
But the
so
fact
they
that
finally done it with the M2.
That's what I was going to say. They finally at least showed that they're showing some interest in mobile.
But if they got ahead of it, they would be a huge step. I mean, like,
Way ahead
DaVinci
of
Resolve
Adobe.
would be the ARM video editing solution, but it's so early. I understand why they're not committing a ton of resources to it, but if they did, that would be a huge play. Because again, it wouldn't pay off for this next generation of products, but they would be in line to dominate once Adobe finally decides to better support everything.
And Adobe's approach
on
to
ARM
this
too.
has been the same for the last couple of years. Minimal approach, minimal support, minimal installation. And
Right.
I understand to a certain point. I mean, 2 years ago this was not the same.
But any
3 years
company
ago-
willing to kind of risk the investment up front, I think would be paid off well because ARM is the future of mobile consumer.
Absolutely.
There's no way we're gonna default to x86 over the next 5 years.
And I think the biggest thing that we're starting to see, I mean, Microsoft obviously launching the Pro 9 and the Pro 9 5G together at the same time, and also showcasing both of them. That's one of the biggest changes. Orion will bring even more support. Apple, if nothing else, has also shown the fact that people want battery life that's longer with performance on a good connected system. Although not all devices that are Apple side.
It's insane to talk about the performance per watt. And I understand we want outright performance. Like, I've got a Core i9 with a 3080 in my backpack.
And rightfully so.
And when I can plug that thing in, that thing is
to the right plug, yeah.
an insane lump of compute power.
Yeah.
But I can do so much more for longer on a phone or a Surface Pro 9 at a reasonable compute tier that I want consumers to start getting way more excited, not about some upper tier benchmark on a hyper exotic product that they're never going to own, and realize, like, literally the phone in your pocket has a performance per watt which completely shames traditional laptops and even a lot of Chromebooks. And, you know, we can make jokes about how hot the 8 Gen 1 runs.
Yeah.
But the 8 Gen 1 with a little managing, a little babying, you know, you've got laptop grade performance at around 7 watt power draw. So that's a lot to tax a phone battery with, but your phone will still outlast a full size laptop in editing and rendering video. And it was responsible for shooting the content where you definitely wouldn't have tried to shoot video from your 1080p camera on a Creator laptop.
I think for me, that was the other thing. I think laptop webcams have been getting a lot more love now recently within the last couple of years.
Oh, gee, I wonder what happened.
I don't know. Whatever was still happening, and apparently people are forgetting that it's still around.
Stay safe out there.
Yeah, please. Especially with the holiday times and stuff like that. They saw some increased numbers last week.
I feel so bad for my daughter, but we're back into slightly more aggressive mask wearing again.
Well, actually, it looks like LA may start bringing back the indoor requirements.
They should.
Yeah, no, I know.
Our numbers are going back up, and unfortunately, that means death to a lot of sick people. So
we'll talk a little bit more about the day job.
We'll
stuff
save
going
that
on.
for another podcast.
That's another podcast. But I will say this. I'm happy that we were able to do this in person. I'm glad that we didn't get a chance to. We didn't scrap it or try to do online more so. Every once in a while, I like to see this guy's face and just hang out with him a little bit, you know, outside of just being, you know, work. Like, you know, we live a little bit further away, but, you know, with traffic and rain, we still made it. We'll try again to do it next year for another in-person stream.
Yeah, we got to wait until it rains.
Really
We'll
good.
do a
Yeah,
rain-
we
a
want
rainy
it
day-
massively
rainy day
pouring for us to
podcast.
basically like.
And I just want to put this out there for anyone who's kind of stuck with us, because we know that like the signal here isn't great. We're
yeah.
trying to do. It's also why I've been kind of like
I know, and I keep
awkwardly
forgetting,
moving
yeah.
back and forth. I don't know if it'll work, but we're gonna try and do a video re-upload. So I'm shooting just some 1080p video from another phone, so that maybe we can stitch it all together. I haven't even checked if it's still recording.
We're going to try to see
if we're doing the wrap up, let me just make sure it's still recording.
So the goal of what we're trying to do is our mics obviously record audio on them, and the camera's going to be
My
we're
butt is so
broadcasting at
cold.
720. We're getting old. But we're shooting it as a separate video, and we're going to try to see if we can edit it and put it up, and hopefully it'll be a cleaner video for everybody to watch tomorrow. So it'll be basically a Saturday morning re-upload of this, and we'll just make this version of it unlisted, so that way you guys could see what it would look like. As far as just better, because we've realized that every time we come here,
something doesn't work.
It's either audio connectivity, and I wish T-Mobile would just add better towers. But with that being said, we'll keep you guys posted on how things are going to be going for the next few shows, obviously.
The next few shows should be pretty normal, but
I meant to say over the next few shows.
Coming into next year, you might see something a little different. So
yeah,
we'll see what we can.
It'll still be both of our faces. I mean, it's not gonna, we're not changing that part. But at the end of the day, I would say, hope you guys are doing well. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. I know we were hitting like about 30 or so at one point. I was checking in on it. And I wasn't engaging a lot in the comments. I'm sorry. As you can imagine, it is really cold. Roger and Dan, it's that cold. We don't typically get this weather here. LA, this is...
My blood has thinned.
Yeah. Like, I need to go get a hot cup of... No, just kidding. I will be perfectly fine with my seat warmers when I get back into my car. But thank you for everybody, for Farhan, for Greg, for Simon Says Hypno, for everybody, Barry, everybody just taking their time and spending it with us.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments if you like this timeline, Friday mornings over Thursday evenings, whichever works for you best, because that helps us as well. And look forward for the video. We'll post it up tomorrow morning. And I actually want to talk to Juan about that video he's working on, because apparently we may be talking about the same thing again. We just didn't know.
That's fine. I think more people need to hear it.
Yeah, well, you will. And hopefully you'll be able to get a chance to see set content very soon.
From both of us and our families into yours, we hope you're in the swing of some happy holiday times, and that you're safe and you're warm and you're well fed. Yeah. And that hopefully you're getting to use some of this cool techery stuff. To kind of spend some time with people who care about you. Because that's the coolest thing about all of this, is like we can talk about performance in the abstract, but really the reason why we get so excited about this stuff is because we get to tell stories and share experiences with the people we care about.
Exactly.
So from all of our families to yours, happy holidays.
Stay
tuned for some fun videos coming up, and some more live streams, and whether or not maybe we should try and do like a Christmas movie watch along or something like that.
No, that's why I was actually kind of queuing it up before. Like,
we should try and do
we need
everybody come hang out.
Yeah, we'll just watch a movie, kick it, and have fun.
A good time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then we'll see you guys again, hopefully on Monday, obviously with the SGGQA, and then another Best of Our Week / Android Bay next week. So take care, everybody. I'm actually going to go off camera now to go turn it off.
Yeah, we'll both awkwardly walk around. I checked the camera, but now we might as well just shut it off.
Yeah.
So anyway, bye.
Bye, everybody. Stay safe. We'll see you soon.
Bye.